welcome to Man Enough. I'm Justin Baldoni.
I'm Liz Plank.
Oh, she forgot her name for a minute. I'm Jamie Heath.
And we are all away from each other again today. We're apart, which is sad.
Separation anxiety.
Jamie's holding it down in the studio all by himself.
I'm the only one that actually showed up to work.
We have a really fun episode today. Liz, who's on the show today?
We do. We have Bill Augusta Jackson and we have Echo Kellum, who are two really, really, really brilliant comedians, artists, showrun, improv. Like they're everything. It will take me too long to read their bios. I'm preparing you.
I'm excited to do it.
I hope you stick around for this one, especially because you'll see Liz perk up in a way she hasn't perked up in a long time. Talking about
really?
Oh, you were like you're. For anyone who's watching YouTube, you can just see the energy change when we get into dating because we have not had two single men on the show.
Sure.
Well, because we recorded the episode already, and then we're doing this intro after the fact. So we know in advance that Liz, during that conversation, she was like, we're talking about dating.
Liz has entered the chat. Got it.
Liz has entered the chat.
That's right.
We hope you enjoy it. These are wonderful, sweet men. And we'll be right back. This is Man Enough.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Spring is in the air, and it's the time of renewal and growth, personally and professionally. As your small business grows, LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Now, let me tell you something. I wish this was a tool that I had access to when I used to look for jobs. And now, as a business leader, thanks to LinkedIn Jobs, it is so simple to post a job, share it with our network, find incredible candidates quickly, and view their comprehensive and engaging profiles. Because we're all more than just a paper resume. Create a job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize what you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Do you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/manenough. That's linkedin.com/manenough. to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome back to Man Enough. And we have a dynamic duo with us today. Oh man, Phil, Augusta Jackson, and Echo Kellum. What's up, guys?
Hey.
What's going on?
Echo, I really am happy to be with you via Zoom because in person, I feel very small next to you.
Why is that?
I think because I'm tall, because I'm a very tall man. I'm very tall.
It's not that complicated.
Because I feel small in other ways around Justin.
Well, that's what I was meaning.
Justin's got the muscles popping, and I'm in the gym trying to catch up, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, please, on a superhero show for how many years you were on. It's so good to see you again, man.
Good to see you too, man.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Yeah, that's
wow.
Before the hair, though.
The hair is 7'2".
He's actually very
especially when
short,
I have
man.
my kid in Frey. Yeah, I'm a very short man, actually. It's all hair.
Liz, would you tell our audience about these two amazing men?
Yes, we're so thrilled to be joined by none other than Phil Augusta Jackson and Echo Kellum. Phil, you are an Emmy Award-nominated writer, producer, musical artist from Philadelphia. Phil is the creator and showrunner of NBC's new half-hour comedy Grand Crew. We highly recommend you go watch it right now. It is hilarious and deep and meaningful, and I don't know, it feels like a big hug. Phil is also a co-executive producer of HBO's Insecure, another great show. Jackson has also written for Key and Peele, Survivor's Remorse, and most recently Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where he also directed. He has been nominated for an Emmy, WGA, and NAACP awards, and self-produced and directed shorts and music videos. I'm like halfway done, by the way.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
I think that's enough. I think that's enough. I like making stuff. I think the people get it.
I hope you make it one day, man. It's a hard world out there. I hope you have some success.
Tough.
Yeah, tough world.
I mean, and then Echo, you're playing Noah in Grand Crew for NBC. You're also in FX's The Old Man, opposite Jeff Bridges. Echo also has a DC comic fan favorite, Mr. Terrific, and Arrow for the CW. He's developing an original feature together with writing directing partner Nathan Kaywood and friend of Man Enough, Lil Rel Howery.
Oh, Rel.
Yes.
My man.
And Echo also has time to be an avid improviser in his free time and performs regularly at UCB with House Team Winslow. I can't wait to see you perform. Thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate you coming to the Man Up podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's just such a pleasure to be here.
So well, let's dive in because we like to set the stage with a first question that kind of asks us to go a little deeper. So feel free. What are you laughing about already?
Why are you laughing already?
I don't know. I'm not trying to expect anything. I'm just trying to come in very, raw and real. So.
Got it. Okay. When was the last time you didn't feel enough?
I think there are parts of every day where we can have those moments where we don't feel enough. If you miss an appointment or you let someone down or you let yourself down. I think that the beautiful thing about life is that it has ebb and flows and waves. And I think to appreciate the aspects of feeling enough, you have to know what the pain of not feeling that way is. I think sometimes we run away from failure, but I look at failure as a very valuable learning lesson to have the success that I want to have, right? So I think it's okay to feel it. And I think it's just something that as you go about your day, as you're, letting your actions speak out to the world, it just ebbs and flows.
That was a beautiful answer. Jamie knows what I'm going to ask you right now. When was the last time you didn't feel enough?
It's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
I didn't feel enough earlier before I worked out, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of being lazy and was watching the hummingbirds, hit up the feeder. And I was like, oh man, you really got to, be on top of your health and, just staying consistent. And I did it, you know what I'm saying? But that was a real moment where I was wavering on myself because I was like, oh, should I work out? Should I, whatnot? And that, struggle that we go through with ourselves and, emotional, mental, physical, are we taking care of ourselves? I think that was the last time I felt that.
Okay. Thank you, man. How about you, Phil?
Today. Today. I'll keep it real with y'all. I feel like this is one of the best times of my life because of this opportunity with Grand Crew. I think that I'm really fortunate to not only have made a show with my friends in front of the camera, but behind the camera, I got to work with my friends and stuff like that. And so we made the show we wanted to make. It's such a beautiful experience. I do think sometimes that the internet can just be hard. Do you know what I mean? And if you click on the wrong thing and you go down the wrong rabbit hole, which is a thing I've been trying to avoid. I've been trying to stay off Twitter. I've been trying not to pay too much attention to reviews. I've been trying not to focus on that much, but a lot of my drive as a person is being creative, making things and stuff like that. And so I think it's an adjustment, and I think it can be hard when people don't see the vision. Do you know what I mean? And don't necessarily relate to the sensibility of the show, especially considering that so much of the show is deeply personal. It's a heightened show, and I want it to feel like a big hug and stuff like that. But it's hard to stumble upon something that's Black people didn't write this show, or you know what I mean? So or the myriad of other things that I've seen. And so it's I think I was doing my writing today, was taking a little break, stumbled upon something like an article that was just like a deep analysis of what's wrong with the show. And I was just like, oh, well, that I don't feel like enough. Do you know what I mean? Just to be completely 100. But that being said, there's so many people that love the show. There's so many people that are like, thank you for this show. And so it's just keeping in mind that like not every artistic endeavor is for every person. And that's the thing I need to remind myself. But my honest answer to the question is it was today and it was creative related. And that's just, honestly, I'm thankful it's reaching enough people where everyone's getting
criticism.
To decide. There is criticism, which, and, you know, if you're part of the conversation, you're part of the conversation, but that doesn't mean that doesn't make it easy to, you know, stumble upon something that's like, you know.
Phil, so you saw that, you're writing, so you were in your flow.
Yeah.
If you're anything like me, when I write, because I'm writing right now too, there reaches a point where you're like, all right, I got to take a step back. And ideally you do something that fuels you. You ran into some pain. What do you do from that point on? Like, what did you do when that hits you? Did you allow yourself to feel it? Did you get pissed? Did you call somebody? I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, Echo and I have talked a lot about just being a creative and this idea that once you get to a certain level, it's going to reach so many people that it's going to be for some people and not for others. You know what I mean? And so I think on a day like today, it's something that I've been working on over the past couple of months. So it was a very quick synapse as opposed to a couple months ago where the show just came out and it was like, oh, this is what it's going to be like. Do you know what I mean? But the things that I do to kind of, you know, take care of my mental health and stuff like that is I take really, really long walks every day, 5 or 6 miles. Sometimes I'll take 2, like I might take another one after this. And then in that moment, I think I was feeling like, because of the perspective of friends that I have and conversations that I've had and having a circle of people that just are good at sharing perspective, it was like, oh, that's a thing. I've already told myself I need to not be looking at that and just close the window, got myself a kombucha and then just kept writing. You know what I mean? So that was it. Yeah.
But there's something really, really difficult about being criticized by people who you were making the thing for, right? Like, and I experienced that with I wrote a book about masculinity, and I basically became a writer because of Jezebel. Jezebel was like my Bible growing up. And then I got like, they trashed it. They like really just were like, you know, that I was, sort of placating men. But anyway.
Liz, it must have been the same writer that trashed my book.
Probably.
At Jezebel.
Which is, I guess, a compliment.
A rite of passage.
but yeah, I'm just curious, you know, because, and again, you know, we can go into the data, you know, that only 5% of showrunners are Black, which is really, I mean, it should be way higher than that. And so in many ways you have so much responsibility to sort of represent everybody, to make everyone happy, right? So how do you deal with that criticism when it's coming from, you know, you've poured your heart into this and then to feel like people aren't, you know, seeing that? How do you handle that?
I mean, I think I should caveat that, like, the thing that I have to remind myself is that a lot of people do like the show.
Yes.
It's almost like that restaurant principle, that 80-20 that you learn in like marketing class, where it's like 80% of the people that go to, I'm probably butchering this because I was in business school so long ago, but like 80% of the people that go to a restaurant and enjoy themselves will like go, and that'll be what it is. But it's the 20% that didn't have a good time that will speak louder than the people that are enjoying it and actually are enjoying the product that you're presenting to them. So I think it's just, it's all about perspective. And then having people close to me that I can say, oh, we made the thing we wanted to make. It was a beautiful time filming the show, writing the show. And so much of it was amazing. And there are so many people that like it, that it's like, it's literally, it's just a definition of a rabbit hole, right? It's like, you can get caught up in the parts that are super critical, and then forget that there are people actually reaching out to say how much they appreciate the show and thanking us for the work that we did too. So it's a perspective thing. And honestly, like, I think it's just an adjustment. I think, you know, Echo has been at this level before. He's been like a lead in a show. And so like, this is the first time where like I'm in control of the product. And so I think a lot of it is like, almost like rookie season stuff where it's like, you just you learn how to adjust and you learn how to get that perspective and stuff like that creatively. And I think I'll just be stronger for it. So.
Echo, what drew you to this, specifically this show? I mean, I know you guys have been friends forever, right? Like a decade, not forever, but you know.
Phil is one of the most prolific, amazing showrunners I've ever had the pleasure to work with. He truly thinks of things in such a intricate and meticulous way, and is very open to collaboration, and has just such a great court vision with how he does things. He literally pours his heart and soul into everything. So I just want to say big ups to him. And if it's rookie of the year, let's go, let's get that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, honestly, it was Phil who drew me to this. You know, we unpack all of the aspects like you guys do on your podcast of the vulnerability of being, men and Black men
let's
in
talk about that.
And we definitely, no, it's so interesting. We had an episode about therapy, and it's like something that we've all really talked about and like delved into just at the wine bar, and just like something that has been so stigmatized. I feel like in the community, like that if you do therapy, you're weak, or like, you know what I'm saying, something's wrong with you. That, it was just nice to talk with them about it, and then branch off to other friends who I've known for years, and like them to be open with it. It was just cool to see just different conversations happening, and in the aspect of being like free to be the men that we are without any judgment. Like, I get my nails done and stuff like that. And not once did
nails.
Phil, thank you so much,
great,
but
man.
not once did Phil or anyone ever say, dude, what's up with the nails? No judgment. No, it's just like, come as you are. And it's this real love and just sense of community. And on top of that, like everyone's like crushing it in their own fields and are just kind people and like really talented. So it was just a cacophony of just all of us just really just jiving with each other. And I jumped at the opportunity.
Sweet. So in your lives, because obviously both of you have experienced an incredible amount of success, and more things to come, we know. And, godly praise to you both for what you're doing. My question would be,
appreciate you. Indeed.
So, we're doing the show Man Enough. Why do we do this? It's called Man Enough. We actually have had some interesting conversations about that title. And really it's about undefining what it means to be man. And now as a Black man myself, as well as you guys, there's a whole nother thing that comes with that, being a man and being Black. But on the show, we talk about the whole full gambit of being a man and how that affects humanity and how we're raising our next generations, how we're living in our workspace, how you are on your set, how you are at home. My question would be, and I know that you guys in your lives, think about these things and you speak about them and touch them on different levels. Why do you think coming on an episode like this or a podcast like this and talking about it, why does it matter to you? Why do you think, is there even a purpose in men evaluating our manhood and our masculinity? And if so, do you think there's more of a responsibility on you when it comes to Black masculinity and how that looks?
Well, I think to the first part of your question, was it, why do I think it's important to be on a show like this? I think this is like a huge opportunity. I mean, there is, it feels like there's like a set of like standards that like men are supposed to exist within. It could be something as granular as like Echo saying, where it's like, he likes painting his nails. It looks good. He digs it. That makes him happy. But the thought that you have to go through to say, oh, I'm deciding to do this despite knowing that there's going to be a reaction to it. I think being on a show like this that is promoting just being a human and an individual, I think that actually, is critical. And I think that's how you push the envelope forward. You know what I mean? So just to say, like, there is, again, no monolithic experience to being a man, especially not to being a Black man. You know what I mean? I can speak just from my personal perspective. We have this therapy episode, right? I didn't start doing therapy until last year. I just turned 38, so it's like,
you too, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. It's something that's been on my mind for a long time, but I think if the kind of societal perceptions were more deconstructed sooner, I might have been more open to doing something like that sooner. I'm glad I did it when I did it. I think everything happens when it's supposed to. But I think when you talk about the opportunity of a podcast like this, I think it appeals to me because it feels like the message to me is everybody's different. Let's not put the pressure of what you have to be onto any one person, because I think at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what actually makes me happy? What do I actually want to be doing? Who are the types of people that I want in my life? And I think sometimes the way that our society is built, it can be like, this is supposed to make me happy. These type of people are supposed to make me feel good. And I think you can lose yourself a little bit in that. And so I think, that's kind of the long answer to your question. It's like, let everybody do their thing. Like, let your voices be heard. And I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. The more you can kind of push in that direction, if that makes sense.
You actually defined really the thesis for our show, which is this idea of undefining masculinity.
Right.
Not redefining it, not creating a new box that, in 15 years we're going to have to redefine again, but to undefine it, to make room for anybody who identifies as a man to be allowed to be a man.
Yeah.
With no societal pressures, with no issues if Echo paints his nails, right? We just are who we are. I'm a man, and don't give me shit about it. Just let me be me.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'll let you be you, and you let me be me, and we're all men. So move on. That's the goal. Echo, what were you gonna say?
Man, it's just so interesting. I do think it's important to come on podcasts like this, but I want to talk about something specific that I saw on your podcast. Kind of was a viral clip, and why I think it's important. It was you and your dad, and I remember you were talking about growing up. He wished that he could have done things slightly differently. You guys were just having this real open, just really like deep conversation, and it's like, if that makes one person open up to their father or to their brother or to their cousin, it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? And that perspective of, I'm from the hood projects in Chicago, born and raised, and most of my childhood friends, and I'm still very, very close to a few of them from the same place. Some of them have never gotten out of the city. But I remember one of my guys, Jay, he came to New York, and I took him to go see Waitress on Broadway because it's a great show. I was like,
it's a great play. It's a great
he's like,
show.
like Jay is definitely like a little bit more hood, you know what I'm saying? A little bit. And literally he's crying watching this play, you know what I'm saying? And just like taking it in. And next thing you know, he's seeing Book of Mormon in Texas, and he's like having his friends do that. And it's just like this thing where it's like a domino effect, where even if you could just touch one person and have one person step outside of the box that they put themselves in, or that society puts us in, then it's freaking worth it. And I think that goes across the aspect of being a man, a Black man, just to the aspect, like Phil said, of just being human. And that every experience is different, and it's okay to step outside of the parameters that we're supposed to be put in.
And how different is it for Black men who are? I was watching some of the press that you guys did around the show, and someone spoke about this idea of like, Black men are either superhuman or subhuman, right? That you don't get the opportunity really in our society to experience that lightness, to experience that joy, to experience that freedom. So I'm just curious, how was that something that you wanted to explore in the show? Talking about therapy, I think for a lot of men it's really difficult, but for Black men it's, and there's an entire history of not being trustworthy of a medical system that you had every reason not to trust. So is any of that, or any of those things that you wanted to explore? Like, is your goal for more Black men to want to seek therapy, or were you just kind of like exploring it as a question just generally?
Yeah, sure. What was interesting to me, given the pandemic of it all, given everything that's going on has gone on in the country in the past few years, and just the core conceit of the idea, was to make a feel-good show that is funny, right? So that's top broad level. I think after that, there was definitely a desire on my part to just unpack the taboo topics that exist for Black men, but the goal was to kind of Trojan horse it in, you know what I mean? And hopefully not be too preachy about it. And so every episode this season, at least topically, has a touches on something that that relates to the Black community and Black men specifically. And the pilot is just the emotionality of going through a breakup, being vulnerable, and what that can actually look like at a very emotional level. In the second episode, it's self-care, like this idea of actually taking time to yourself. Granted, we put a lot of jokes and humor into that, but the topic of self-care felt like an interesting thing for us to just talk about. In the third episode, it was, what about the gender dynamics of who's the breadwinner in a marriage? What if we lead with that and the insecurity that might come with that? Let's make that funny, but not make the butt of the joke the actual topic itself, but find jokes in the story. In 4, it was therapy. In 5, it was about role models. In 6, it was about fatherhood. When it comes to therapy specifically, I don't think it's my job or anyone's job to be like, every Black man should be in therapy. But it is such a stigmatized thing and such a taboo thing that it's like, it's almost like, you're crazy if you go. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like let's take that part off of it at least. So for the person out there that feels like they've been curious about it but are afraid to tell their friends for fear of what they might say, let's try and just remove that aspect of it, but do it in a way that still has tons of levity.
It's funny because I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I am one that strongly believes that I think everybody needs therapy, and I have no problem saying that out loud because I think the most successful people, marriages that I've seen in my life, have therapy. I think the most successful people have therapy. Now, I can't tell people to have therapy, of course, but I can say if you want to be your best version of yourself, if you want to be the best for humanity, the best husband and the best in all that you do, we need to find ways to talk about things with people who won't just have our back always, that will tell us truth, who have no interest in the outcome. And I think therapy allows us, and I think Black men, I think all people, but Black men, for many of us, there is trauma that we are told to not deal with or to hide, or we're not masculine enough so in therapy, we're allowed to deal with it. Even if it's secret, we're allowed to maybe process it in ways that we never were before. So
I absolutely agree. And I would, so go ahead, Echo.
No, I was going to say a stupid joke, so I'm going to just shut up.
We need the joke.
Give us the joke.
Or at least watch Brene Brown YouTube videos. That's my joke. Anyway.
Requirement. Mandatory.
Yes, sir.
I was just going to say, I do think that, I agree with you in that I do think at the core, everyone would benefit from it. I think the one like layer that I have is just like, if we were to force everybody to go to therapy, and they're of them, and they go in crossing their arms and don't really share and don't build to a place of vulnerability, then it's like it's not going to be worth it. So there's like that interesting 15 or 20% where someone has to think it's okay and actually go into it and just attempt it for the first time. And I think that barrier to entry a lot of times is more than half the battle. You know what I mean? So,
the other barrier, though, the other barrier that I think it's important to talk about is it can be expensive, and insurance doesn't always cover it. I remember
that's right.
In my early 20s, I really wanted to go to therapy, but I just couldn't afford it. So I know that's another part of our broken system, and how inequality works with all of us, and the fact that we don't have that. I mean, I believe therapy should be a fundamental part of healthcare. Yeah, it should just be like an option that you have. It should be, necessary.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like even on our healthcare for SAG, like the mental health portion is like this sidecar that you got to call an 888 number to like have them go through all these, and the providers are never available. It's so hard to even
it's hard to, it's hard to get therapy.
Yeah.
Even with SAG, and SAG is some of the best insurance in the world. And I remember dealing with that, and they're like, well, you can only go to this therapist or this therapist or this therapist in your area and a network and all of this stuff. And it's just like, I just need someone to talk to. I just want to, I don't know how to cry. Shit. Like, help me. And then you're just like, oh, I'll just, you know what? I'll just man up. And then what are we doing, right? All we're doing is what Bell Hooks talks about, which is committing that act of soul murder, where we just suppress our emotions to the point where we're so numb we just have no idea how to feel.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we're all doing. We're all kind of zombies walking around right now, and So yeah, I also believe that everybody needs therapy. You can't make somebody go to therapy, but it's got to start by making it affordable, accessible, attainable, and attractive in some way. And that only starts when folks like you two write it into a big network television show and destigmatize the lead characters going to therapy, making it fun, making it cool, making it funny and awkward and all the things. That's how it works. That's how we begin to change the system.
And therapy, like we see it as this big thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to talk about all my, obviously you do talk about trauma, and it's like, you're not, no one's like, great, I have therapy, I can't wait, I'm going to be in a great mood afterwards. But it's also, therapy is it's just like going to the doctor, right? Like he'll give you like exercises to do, and then you just feel better. Like I was looking at this TikTok, this woman did this perfect. I spend most of my day on TikTok. That's why I that you have.
Who amongst us does not?
But this woman was like, let me give you all the stupid mental health tricks for your stupid mental health that actually work. And it's like, go for a walk, right? You talked about it, Phil. Listen to it, have a playlist that, of happy music so that it distracts you from what's in your head. Breathe, right? The tips to, and this is not to simplify, oversimplify people who have mental health issues, but a lot of it is just like not knowing what to do. And that support in therapy doesn't have to be every week for the rest of your life. But if we don't make it accessible and we see it as this other thing, right? Not as part of healthcare, then it creates this barrier to entry. And to your point, I think it's so great the way that you bring it up in the show. It's just like funny, right? It's not this heavy, weighty topic. It's just something that can be, just part of normal conversation between people.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, I think the price of therapy, Justin, like you're saying, I think it's totally accurate. It has almost become a like the perception of it is like it's for the privileged, as opposed to this thing, mental health, and this idea of mental health being a thing that everyone has a right to, which is super, that's wild. And then just from like a personal perspective, I remember when I was like shopping around for therapists, it's like, am I really about to email this person about, and then what are they going to, aren't they going to be like, what are you in for therapy for? And I'm like, well, just for general mental health. And isn't that like weird? Don't I need to have something specific to talk about? And, and then when I actually had my first therapy session, he was like, the general stuff, like take me through what's going on in your life. Tell me how you're doing. And like in the middle of me talking, he was like, literally what happened in the show, what Echo performed was like, you're take a deep, like you're not breathing. Like he's like, I was just like talking for like 5 minutes straight. He's like, take a deep breath. I was like, why? He's like, because you haven't breathed in like 3 to 5 full minutes. You are
that's why you're stressed.
You are stressed. You are. And I was like, this is just about letting things on my mind out, figuring out what is bringing me joy and what I need to work on. And like, it's as simple as that. And I was like, thank goodness I had friends around me that when I told them I was thinking about doing it, the reaction wasn't what's wrong. It was, I did thampy a couple years ago. I'm looking to get back into it. Or yeah, bro, I've been stressed about this, and this. I highly recommend it. So I'm thankful in that regard. But it's like that I definitely had to break through that first kind of barrier to entry. That's, I guess, that static energy, I guess, if there's a way to describe it, takes more energy to kind of get something going than it does to kind of keep it moving once it's in motion.
It's like online dating. It's like, okay, it's going to be awkward for the first 5 minutes, but then like maybe you're going to meet the one, So it's like, it's knowing it's going to be awkward.
Thank God I wasn't around.
Well, if it's like online dating, then it never gets better eventually.
Oh no. Are you guys single?
Yeah.
Yes, we are, right, Phil?
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a question.
Oh boy.
What was the old boy for?
The world of singledom is just a whole nother.
Let's talk about that. We don't have a lot of single. I feel like we don't have a lot of single people on the show. That's a weird. We should talk about that. What's it like dating as a man in 2022? I'm serious.
Liz, just Jamie. We'll get back to your question. This is very exciting.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I'm the token singles host. So, but we talk a lot about parenting, talk a lot about fatherhood, but we don't talk about being a single guy. Because what I've heard, this is new fun data that I've received from a few little sources, that younger men now, they don't hit on women. They don't court. They don't go, like, they don't suggest meeting. They wait until she does the move. And it's confusing a lot of I said I'm talking about heterosexual relationships. It's confusing a lot of heterosexual women who are like, wait, is he interested? Because we're just told the guy has to make the first move or else he's, it's never going to work. But men are more careful now and more afraid and more sort of like letting her lead. And so I'm curious if that at all resonates.
That's so interesting. Oh, go ahead, Phil.
No, you go ahead, Echo. You got that. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
What you think? What you think, Echo?
I think. Dating has always been a dumpster fire, I think, for anyone who's been, in it, right? No matter what, like if you're from Boise, Idaho, you're like the worst datings in Boise, like New York, LA, doesn't matter, right? I have a lot of friends, like female friends, who talk about dating and stuff like that. And there is this thing that I hear a lot where a guy will see a girl from across the bar, and instead of like getting her a drink or going up to talk to her, he'll just find her Instagram and then like watch her from his fake account. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of things.
That's
very stalkerish.
Wow. Yeah, that's
like,
heavy.
But it's that thing where, like, as opposed to actually putting in work or being like, I'm going to go talk to her. No, I'll just live a fantasy world online where whatever, right? So I've definitely heard aspects that like chivalry is dead and things like that. I haven't dated a ton, especially when we were shooting, and I've been really focusing on career stuff and like trying to just like really delve deeper into that. I was a serial monogamous for most of my adult life. I would jump out of one relationship into the next, had a lot of very codependent issues. So I broke up. I got out of a relationship about 3 years ago, and I've been single for that span. But what's really been cool is, and what's really cool about playing the character Noah is like I've had to go through all these steps to like focus on myself. Like self-care is something I definitely really delved into in the last few years, and like figuring out what I was into. Like I've gotten really big into like going outdoors and camping and like more into photography and all these things. And whereas opposed to when I used to be in these relationships, I would latch onto whatever my partner was on and not really have a perspective where I could jump off from or be my own specific being to bring something to the table. But the times where I have went out in these dating streets have been hilarious to say the least. And just I tend to believe that people currently, and I'm not sure why, and maybe it's just the big city aspect of it all, I feel like people are always waiting for something better to come along so they can have an 85, but they're like, but that 93 is right around the corner. You know what I'm saying? And there's this perspective where people don't want to foster real relationships. I think people like to be in situationships more than anything currently. So that feels like kind of the dating landscape for me. What do you think, Phil?
Well, I was in a long-term thing that ended going on 6 months ago. And I think I'm still doing the work to like be in a place where dating makes sense for me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not there yet. And I think it was the longest relationship I've ever had. And I think
how long?
It was like three and a half.
That's long.
Yeah. And, no vitriol or anything to the end of it. It was, but one of those where it's like, oh, okay, so what did I learn from that? And it just, I'm in that like period of reflection. So I have not been like in these dating streets, as Echo says, but I will say prior to meeting this person, I've never been good with the apps. I don't think I translate on the apps. You know what I mean? I like what I bring to the table like does not translate to.
You mean you don't get people responding to you or like swiping right on you?
Yeah.
But my friend Lacey has this theory. She's like, if he has a good online profile, you don't want to date him. Like she's like, date the guy who doesn't have a good profile because that probably means there's more to him, right? But if he's had everything perfect, everything laid out, like bathroom selfies, it's like, that's probably not the guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so maybe this is proof of that, because you seem like a great guy, but you're not
thank
great.
You so much.
So online dating feels.
But
no,
I've accepted that. It's almost like maybe I am picking the wrong pictures, and I also like feel like I don't like the profile, like the quippy thing that's like about yourself. And sometimes people find the perfect little phrase. I know I'm a writer, but like sometimes people be like, oh, in the mountains, but still got my feet on the ground. And I'd be like, man, how'd they come up with that? Like, I don't have that. Like, I don't have. Yeah.
So many dudes are putting that on their apps right now. Like,
in the mountains, still got my feet on the ground.
But Phil, you know what? I think it's always the smartest people that can't do it for themselves. So what you should do is create an alter ego and develop and use your writer brain to build your profile, and then just have that be your profile because it's you.
Yeah, maybe that's the way to do it.
There's one thing I want to say about dating, Liz, and I wrote about it in my book, but I was blown away by this new phenomenon that many therapists have experienced, which is that they're finding that people are so used to the swipe signal, because again, it's just like anything else, right? It's all random reward theory. It's what TikTok uses. It's what casino technology uses. That's now the algorithm that is making Tinder and all these dating apps so successful. It's an algorithm, and its mission is to keep you on the app. The whole point of it is to keep you swiping, and yet we're using it to find love. But really, we're users in somebody else's game. And we don't think about it that way. We wonder why dating is so hard. Well, random reward theory is basically a dopamine trigger, because you don't know what's coming next. So you're dopamine swiping left and right. There's no difference between that and porn, which is something that I've come out and talked about. Is I struggled with addiction with porn because I was introduced at 10 years old. Those neural pathways formed in my brain at a very early age, and boom, like an event happens in my life, I feel an urge or a pull. The same thing is happening with these dating apps. And so what they're finding is this phenomenon of people swiping when they meet somebody.
Oh, wow.
When they look at somebody on the street, right? So Echo
gross.
might be out on the street and Liz is there, and Liz in her mind might not even realize that she just swiped left or right, depending on whatever she saw. The next part of it.
Oh, that's
the
my
next
life.
part of it.
No,
But here's what's interesting. The other part of this that's so tricky, because Echo, you brought up this idea of like you might be an 85, but a 93 is right around the corner, is something called paralysis of choice. And this has been studied. They it started with these tests in a supermarket. Jams, exactly. How many different flavors of jams do you want? And it was over a certain number that suddenly people either couldn't pick, or the one that they picked, they immediately had remorse and regret because they feel like they picked the wrong one. And that's what's happening. We have way too many choices now. So nobody's staying with anybody else because, but you know what? I'm still waiting for that 93, or I swiped on that girl. And that's why people are going to, they're going to the restroom on dates and they're swiping. And I'm hearing these stories.
Ew.
And I'm like, how can anybody
nuts.
find love in that world? It's like you have the odds stacked against you. It's a machine. It's an algorithm, and it's also paralysis of choice.
But also, you don't have that much choice because the 93 might not even like you, right? Like it's such a.
But in your mind, you don't know that.
But it's right. But it's different with the jams, because the jams you can all, right? There's like in the study, there's 100 jams and like they're all yours because it's jam. And like the jam can't be like, I don't want your toast. But in real life, right? Like this idea that all
that's
of
a
these
t-shirt.
people are
Liz, that's
your
a t-shirt.
Toast is getting rejected.
I don't want your toast. That's the new feminist t-shirt for you, Liz.
Love it.
So basically, online dating is like if you were presented with like 3 jams, and then they tell you that there's 2,000 jams in the next room over, but you may or may not be able to have any of those jams in there.
And foreign jams that you've never had before. They're not even in English,
Jams
so you can't even read the label.
Currently.
Jams who haven't been to therapy, jams who, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
I've been to 2 weddings from online dating. One has been like 5 years together, got babies. Because I was the same way. Well, I mean, I'll never be online dating because I'll be with my wife forever. But for me, it was like never something I could even imagine. And yet,
except when you go to the bathroom, obviously.
It works for some people. It does work for some people. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law met, but on Tinder, but they met in Sweden on Tinder. And from what I hear, it's very different. So it's also culturally different and culturally
What's Tinder like in
Tinder is
Sweden?
known.
Everything's better in
Tinder
Sweden.
is basically the OK Cupid of America. You know,
Right.
let's be real.
Right.
Oh, wow. I'm going to Sweden.
Sweden Tinder's like feminist, gender equality, like, you know, all of it. At least that's the man that she ended up with.
But, you know, I also agree with Phil in the aspect that, like, I'm also, like, trash on the apps. I like to say I'm better in the wild, like, you know, or actually out somewhere, you know. So, yeah, definitely agree with Phil on that.
I mean, if not to, I don't want to blow up your spot, Echo, but since you said it, you are very good at respectfully introducing yourself and, like, having a conversation. I've seen it. And
tell us how. What's the secret for the men who are listening and who feel nervous about doing it? Don't want to come off as creepy or too forward.
Okay. Dating advice. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, be yourself. Like, I know that's like cliche, but like if you're into something, you should do it. But generally, I think you should approach people with a friend and with the intent of being friends without any expectations. Like, so for instance, I'll go up to a group of people and it could be two girls and a guy, and I'll buy them all drinks. And I don't expect someone to necessarily give me a number or digits or whatever. It's just like, I'm just being a kind person. I believe in this, like, pay it forward perspective. And then if there seems like there's some type of vibe or, you know, any interest, you know, then I'll respectfully, you know, if I'm interested in somebody out, then I'll respectfully, like, you know, something like, you know, I think you're gorgeous. I would love to take you out one night if you're single or whatever, you know, and or something like that. And I just feel like it just has to be a natural thing because I think dudes try to hit on people in the wrong places, or like, you know, like you don't hit on anyone when they have to do something to survive, like when they're getting food or, you know, at the grocery store, like, you know what I'm saying? Or just
that's
like,
amazing.
That's a really
you know,
good law.
Pretty brilliant.
You know,
That's
it's
a
just
good
like,
rule.
you just don't. Now, if you're both reaching for jam together and your hands touch and there's a natural moment, that's different than being like, hey, girl, you like jam? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't work. So I think it's just about, you have to, first of all, fill it out. I think there has to be a little bit of, there's a lot of nonverbal cues and social cues you can keep. Like if someone looks at you and you look at each other and you smile and that continues for a little bit, you can probably approach them and say something to them. Like, it's just like little, you know, can I say something? Honestly, this is super funny.
Yes.
WikiHow.com. It's the silliest website. But they have little things like how to like talk to people in a bar.
Number one is starting up a conversation with a woman. Make eye contact with the girl you want to talk to.
I'm on the same
you're
page.
right. It's simple, but it's like, make
but
eye
people
contact.
don't even think of these types of things.
Yes, if she's avoiding your eye contact, she's probably not interested. If she's kind of keeping it, like she wants to know you.
Wait, hold on. Let me get to that real quick. You said people don't even think about these kind of things. You mean those things that were listed right there? Like to look at somebody.
I mean, just being like a human being to other people. Okay. I think that's really what it's about.
So let me ask about that real quick. Let me ask about that. How crazy it is that I think that comment that you made is probably accurate. A lot of people don't think about those things. Is it our responsibility for those of us that have some insight and enlightenment in that to share it with our brothers so that we can be a different group of men, you know, over some time? Right? You know what I mean? And what are you guys doing specifically maybe in that aspect? Because you guys have platforms that have, you know, influence on others and voices that, you know, with microphones. Do you guys find that you use your voices to change those narratives that are oftentimes there and to help men be better?
I like to think about, you know, I have a lot of friends that I know I'm a video gamer on the side. So like I have a lot of friends, online friends and things like that, and friends of friends and whatnot. And we're constantly having these intricate, deep you'd be surprised the conversations that happen over Halo Infinite. You know, like some really deep, introspective, social, economical world, relationships, love. You know what I'm saying? Like it really all comes out there. And I'm always
like what? Give us an example.
Like I had a friend who was apprehensive about dating a girl because she had a sexual past he was uncomfortable with, and I'm like, don't you have a sexual past anyone's uncomfortable with? Like, what's happening here? Like, we're all human beings, and we got to let them go. This stigmatism that we're players and they're sluts and whatever. It's like, no, we're all out here living our best life, trying to find love, trying to have fun, and we got to just start looking at each other as people and not just as slabs of meat or women or men, but like more like as humans. That's what I kind of just I like have these conversations constantly, and I have seen some breakthrough in the people that I've communicated. You know, I've been playing games with these people for 20 years, you know, and some of them have never left Chicago. Some of them have very sheltered points of view. So I do try to educate fellow men and try to be like, let's treat people like people, like, and that's bar none. And I feel like some friends listen. Some are like, "Shut up, dude! You know what you're talking about? Like, get out of here! You don't have a girlfriend, you know, things like that."
Yeah.
So it's pushback, you know. Yeah. But I think it's important.
I also think that maybe part of it is like there's an expectation that as a dude you're like already supposed to be good at it.
Yes.
You're already supposed to know. You're already supposed to know how to go over there and talk to her. You're already supposed to know how to respond to the first text that you get. You're already supposed to know where to take her on the date. At least I think that might be part of it. I mean, again, I'm thankful that like our friend group, I'll be like, man, what do I say here? Like what? Yeah. Like I'm a little bit insecure about this kind of thing happened, but I don't know that everybody has that support group to just be like, I don't know what to do here. Give me some best practices. Tell me what you think. Do you know what I mean? And I think that might be a piece of it.
That's all women do, by the way. The first, I would say 10 texts that you receive from a woman have all been like, there should be credits. Like, it's like, have been like co-written by her group of friends.
That's funny.
You know, and like every interaction, or like not every interaction, but really like we go back to the team and we're like, okay, this happened. Is this normal? Like, should I do this? Is it cool? Like, there's a lot that goes into it because it's scary. Like, dating is so vulnerable. Like, connecting with a stranger, where you know, there's so much that could go wrong. It's so nice to feel supported.
Can I ask you, do you guys also, and I've heard this from a few female friends, you name guys too, right? Like give them nicknames?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's so
we don't
funny.
use a real name.
Yeah.
So it is Sex in the City.
Oh, 100%. You're also not we don't save you as your name in our phone. Like, wow. I have a number saved right now. It's called Friend Zone. Because I'm like, I can't see I'm friend zoning him until he proves himself. And like, I can't put, because if I put his real name, then I'm going to feel things. And
Wait, does that mean that means you're putting him in the friend zone, but he has room to break out?
Yes, but he brought that on himself. He didn't start in the friend zone, but he is not proven.
A self-inflicted friend zone.
Self-inflicted
what did he do, Liz?
I mean, if you want me to go into it, it's a little bit of a case of a thing that I talked about before, where I talked about how men don't really do the first move, as if I just heard it from other people. I did hear it from other people, but I also have experienced it myself. And it's a little bit of that, where like we were supposed to talk. He doesn't live here, and so, you know, and we met, and whatever, I'm not going to go into it, but doesn't live here. So it's like a lot at the beginning, sort of calling and communicating that way. And he said he would call, and then he didn't. And then the next day said, I was really busy with work. And I said, you know, I'm not feeling enough consistency from you to keep a romantic interaction going. But like, would love to, you know, if you're ever in town, happy to meet up. And then he responded, oh, I didn't want to bother you. And I actually believe it. Like, I think he was sincere, but again, it was this assumption that I'm this like badass, whatever, like, and getting a text from him would bother me, as opposed to like, well, I'm also just a feeling person who is expecting something and then it doesn't happen. So I don't know. I feel like it's, so yeah, that's how I put him. That's why I put him in the friend zone. And then if he proves himself differently, then I'll, you know, bump him up.
I think that, Liz, I think you need some men on your team. And Echo and Phil, you need some. Echo and Phil, you need some women on your team.
Yeah,
And by the way,
Yeah.
you need married people on your team. That's all I'm going to say. You
You
don't need
need
more
a,
single
you
people
need
on
a
your team.
diverse team. You need a diverse team.
You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta have a diverse team. I think that Liz, I would have given you different advice.
Okay, well, for more context, and we're cutting all this. This is so boring.
No, because the guy listening is gonna hear himself because he's listening to this podcast.
No, he's not.
And he's gonna say he's gonna be like, oh, I gotta get out of my friend zone.
But even before then, I felt again he was just not like initiating us, like talking. But whenever I was like, you want to do it? Yes. But I just, at a certain point, you're like, do you want to hang out with me? And again, I probably am primed in our, patriarchal shit that if a guy's not, if I'm the one initiating contact, then somehow he's not interested or that there's something wrong.
I would have to see the receipts. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell in theory. I would have to see
received all of them.
I would have to see the text, the distance between one text and another, whether he's following up with questions or whether he's giving you kind of short, pithy, not pithy answers. I think all that comes into play. So I can't.
You're right.
I can't lean in one direction.
Okay, can we go on to rapid fire questions?
Yes. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When is the last time that you cried? Phil, you start.
Saturday.
What happened?
I'm in Ohio and I consumed some things and that kind of were mind opening and was looking at the stars and then a lot of just kind of opened up the floodgates. It was pretty beautiful.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. Echo.
I cried Sunday night watching the And Just Like That finale. It was.
Oh, really?
I
haven't Sex in the City.
It's kind of my guilty pleasure right now. Like, there's definitely cringy moments, but I love it. The characters are so great, and it was just so cool. I don't want to say any spoilers, but just to see Carrie get to this place and to see how it all ended with all the characters, and it just really. I am such an easy crier with movies and TV, and that's like. It's surprising if I don't cry watching a film. It's like the thing. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I just saw Liz's heart glow.
Yeah.
this is the best answer we've received.
I
cried watching Sesame in the City. Like, this is why the show exists. Like, for answers like that.
All right. So I got a question for each of you. 2 questions for each of you. Like, make it short, rapid fire. Phil, tell me something about Echo that you love about him as it pertains to him being a man, the way he walks as a man.
His willingness to be vulnerable and his unconditional, non-judgmental attitude as a friend.
Mm-hmm. Echo, tell me something about Phil. Same thing, how he walks through as a man that you love about him.
Man, I love that Phil walks through life, from my perspective, unapologetically bold. He walks with a clear path forward. I love the aspect that he also is a person who is, as a man, is just like extremely loyal and there and down for anyone in his orbit that he cares about.
All right, Phil, tell me something about Echo as it pertains to being a man that you think he could do better.
Ooh. He could.
Oh, snap! Jamie cut out. Oh, snap! Uh-oh.
Come on, y'all been together 10 years. You got a decade of friendship here.
Yeah, well, that's tough. I think Echo. I think Echo could just shine his light to more people and be around more people so that they can get that beautiful energy, because he's reaching people in ways that I don't know that he fully realizes it always, how much him being his authentic self is actually touching people, and just trusting them. That would be mine.
Echo, one thing about Phil, just a quick sentence or 2. Now, come on, y'all are boys for a long time, right? So,
Long time.
we oftentimes praise each other for a lot of the stuff, but where I've grown the most is when my boys have told me something. Jamie, this is something that maybe you can work on. What's one thing you might offer?
Answering that question better about me. No, I was kidding. That is a really tough question. Phil could share his vulnerable parts more. Sometimes you can let that part shine throughout you, because it's I think maybe people looking on from the outside can just see this perfect vessel who is shining so bright as a diamond and just doing this thing, and maybe sharing that vulnerability with people will just be able to show that you can be an amazing, accomplished person and still have shit you're dealing with in life.
I 100%. That's definitely something I need to work on. 100%. So there's no offense taken. I keep people at arm's length. I don't let people know how I'm feeling always. So
Phil, that was me for a long time, and I'll never forget when I started breaking down those walls. My friends were like, "Oh my God, I feel so much better knowing about myself, knowing that you struggle," and that's become my life, and it's because of that I think I have such close, deep friendships and relationships, because it's like, that's all gone. That patriarchy,
Absolutely.
that masculinity
I've been working
shit,
on it
that's
sure.
all gone.
Yeah.
Okay. This one, short answer is here. You ready? You both have a time machine. You get to travel back and talk to young Echo, young Phil.
Yeah.
What do you say in one sentence to your younger selves?
Don't wait to follow your passions.
I would tell my younger self to not be so hard on himself, like not put so much pressure on himself to have everything figured out. I would tell him to have more fun, not necessarily to work any less hard, but just tell him to like actually be more present and not be projecting so far into the future and so stressed about getting places as opposed to living in where he's at.
Well, speaking of projecting far into the future, now the time machine takes you to your funeral. You're a guest at your own funeral. What do you hope is said about you and the way you move through the world?
I mean, I hope that my family looks at my casket or urn, depending on what happens, and I alter between what I want. I fluctuate. I hope they look at it at my life and my journey as a perspective of this is where our family didn't have to start off from zero again, because I feel like so many times in impoverished communities, every generation starts off from zero, and it's so hard to get to 75 from zero. It's much easier to get to 75 from 40 or 50, so I hope my family looks at the choices I made and decisions I made, that I was a thoughtful, caring person, and that I pulled my family out of poverty and created some type of generational wealth.
I hope from a more selfish standpoint, I hope that people are like, oh, he was really passionate about creating stuff, and he did a good job following his passions. From a selfish standpoint, from an interpersonal dynamic standpoint, I hope people will consider me a generous person, someone who could be a mentor to people, and someone who could help open some doorways. And from a family perspective, I hope that they're like, man, he was a really loving and fun dude. So that's the trifecta.
All right, Jamie, last question.
Real talk. What does it mean to be man enough?
My answer after this discussion and the journey that I've been on recently is kind of not giving a fuck and really looking inward and identifying what makes you the happiest version of yourself, and leaning into that. So I think part of it is pushing out the stuff that is telling you what you're supposed to be, and cultivating and watering the parts of yourself that make you the happiest. And that's the journey that I'm on as a dude who's approaching 40 years old. So
Echo.
I think what makes you man enough is acknowledging the fact that you're a human first. Because I think if you acknowledge that, then you allow room to be whatever specific type of human that is. It is that don't give a fuck kind of mentality that Phil is talking about. But I think we just base it all down. We're just Homo sapiens. We literally, evolved to be these people who use our brains a lot more than other species. And sometimes we overthink things and overuse them. And sometimes we could just lean back into that humanity, that perspective of ourselves. And I also would say, I think everyone should go outdoors more, because we lose a lot of the helpful properties that a lot of us need being cooped up in these cities sometimes,
Yeah.
But yeah.
I now have a pithier way of saying what I was trying to say. And it is being true to yourself and leading with love, I think, is like what I think it is to be man enough.
Boom.
Boom.
Slap that on a t-shirt.
Do me a favor. While you guys continue to be successful and your platforms grow and grow and grow and grow, do you don't have children yet?
Not yet.
Yes,
I don't.
Dedicate your lives to making the world better through two things. As Black men, we are oftentimes not seen as people that make the world better. And we know that's not true. One of the ways we do that is to elevate and champion and get out of the way of women. This world is unbalanced. We know that. And when we have voices like we do, man, we got to step up and make it different. They got work to do too, just like we got work to do in terms with race. But we are holding the lock and key in so many ways, man. So with our platforms and voices, let's do all we can. That's how we make this world better.
I love that.
definitely.
Boom. Well, both of you, thank you for being on the show. I think we can all attest to the fact that you are both man enough. And we appreciate it so much.
Appreciate you.
So,
Thanks so
Not
much.
that you need us to tell you.
That's
I
right.
appreciate it.
Thank you. No.
So wonderful to meet you both. Congrats
Likewise.
on the success of your show. We will be right back. This is Man Enough. Hello and welcome back to Man Enough. Oh, that was sweet.
Precious.
Both of those men are sweethearts. I mean, that's probably not how they want me to describe them, but they're
Hey, I'm sure
That
they
was
do,
fun.
actually.
I feel like it
they
was
just
fun.
feel like sweethearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Good
joyful. And
I want
like,
to be on that show.
right?
That sounds like a fun show a fun set to be on with those guys.
I don't
Yeah,
know if
I
I
would
don't know if
be
you're
a
going to get on
gaffer.
that show.
or grip or
I'm
whatever
sorry,
I
Jamie.
need to be.
Why couldn't I be on that show?
I'm just saying, I don't know if you're going to make the cast list right there. I'm just saying. I don't know if you'll make the cut.
I'll be the token white friend. Reverse the stereotypes. Wow, that was the dating conversation was very interesting, Liz. I loved I loved that you just went straight for it. I think Jamie had a very thoughtful question plan, and you were like, dating.
Hello,
We don't get to talk about dating.
young men on this podcast. We don't have a lot of
Two
single, I
single
feel like
handsome young men.
handsome guys. Yes.
That's
I thought it was really instructive and informative, and I was kind of surprised that we haven't really talked about it so far. So I'm glad we did.
Yeah, there's a lot more to explore there, I think.
There is. I think a lot of men don't know what to do. A lot of women don't know what to do. I feel like there's a lot of disconnection happening right now. There's a lot of distance that doesn't need to exist between men and women. We talked about it more.
Yeah, I love the conversation in so many ways, just to, hear them speak about what they're doing and who they are, and their appreciation for each other was really sweet. I actually enjoyed hearing Echo's when I asked him, something that he thought that Phil could be better at, and when he had said being vulnerable. And that was sweet to hear, because I do think that men, we need to be reminded to be vulnerable. Share that with each other. He's all so successful at doing so many things, and yet We can be more vulnerable,
I very much relate to that. I very much relate to that.
You're pretty vulnerable.
Yeah, but I wasn't for a long time.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I still struggle. I still, as you know, as I've talked about, at least with you privately, I've realized I'm much more of an introvert than I am an extrovert. So I keep people at arm's length, very similar to him, because the world has told me I need to be an extrovert. And I never realized that I'm actually like, oh, I have some social anxiety. I don't really know how to, open up in certain areas. That's why Jamie always says I'm like, what do you say? I'm like Steve Urkel in Gaston's body. I'm a very confusing person.
Well, that's more because you're a dork. That's it.
I am a dork.
He is.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us and tuning in. As always, if you like what you hear, you can follow us at manenough.com/podcast or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow our Instagram and TikTok that Liz is killing, and our amazing social media wizard Noelle has been building at We Are Man Enough. And I think that's it. I'm Justin Baldoni.
I'm Liz Plank.
I'm Jamie Heath.
And this is Man Enough.